welcome to join.
Good evening, all. I believe you're with us. I hope you are. Can you let us know, as always, if you can hear us and if you can see us? It's always that 5-minute panic of, are we just sat in a room talking to ourselves? So if you're here and with us, then please give us a little hello in the comments and let us know that you're here this evening. We are a little bit early. Me and Pete always do this little dance. Do we start early and possibly catch you unawares? But if it all goes terribly wrong and we've hit the wrong buttons, we've got them couple of minutes to fix it. Or do we wait till the actual time? So we are a little bit early, which is actually very unlike me in the rest of life because I'm usually late, but I shouldn't tell you all of my secrets, should I? So me and Pete are here this evening. We're going to be with you for about an hour. It's really just a good chance for us to have a natter and a catch up. So tonight isn't. We have different we have different types of Thursday night natters in my mind, anyway. Whether you all agree or not, or if I'm on my own, is a completely different story. But we have the ones where we sort of show you the new releases and kind of take you through all the samples and that lot. And then we have the ones in the middle, which I really like because although I love to bring you the new stuff, I actually really like to just have a relaxed chit chat and ask you if you've got any questions and if there's anything I can help with. So tonight, not like in a, oh, who was the woman who wrote in the Sun, the agony aunt?
Deirdre.
Oh, Deirdre, yeah.
Dear Deirdre.
Dear Deirdre. We're not very good at the Dear Deirdre bit, but if you're struggling to, I don't know, emboss a stencil or not too sure how to play with your elite misters, then that's the sort of stuff we can help with. So let us know. Now, this evening we have Peter with us, and it's rude for me to talk to him and not say hello to him. So let's check in with Pete. Say good evening,
Good
Peter.
evening, all. All right.
So Pete's at the end of my very messy room. One day we'll tidy up and you'll be shocked. We'll reveal it and it'll look really neat and tidy, but that's not today, I'm afraid. So let's have a little look. Who have we got joining us already? Because I can see there's a few of you here with us. So we have got Helen, evening Pippa, hello Sandra, lovely to have you with us. Wendy, evening Mary, hello Maureen, evening Hilary, evening Lynn and Kim. Thank you all for joining us. It's freezing, isn't it? And it's proper cold in here tonight. So if I turn slightly blue and start shivering, you know why. We haven't had the heating on in this room until today. And I said to Pete, we must put the heating on in here just to try and warm us up. I was conscious because it was sort of getting to me stuff. So yeah, so it's chilly. And we have had a bit of snow here in Yarmouth, but thankfully outside my windows, anyway, because I haven't ventured very far, it does seem to have disappeared. I don't know if there's much anywhere else locally. And I know that a lot of the country seems to be quite heavily affected. So, but we've been relatively lucky. Being by the coast, we don't tend to get too much snow. And if we do, I think it's all to do with the salt and the wind or something, I don't know. But it don't tend to linger long, which is kind of handy, really. So don't forget, if you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will do my best to fit them in and we'll try and chat about them as we go throughout the evening. Evening, Pat, lovely to have you with us. Evening, Sue. Sandra says good evening to you, Peter. I think I already had an evening already. Oh, Tammy's got 10 more minutes on her evening craft Zoom class. Well, there's no rush, honestly. We're just going to natter and chat, so there's no pressure. Lynn's in bed. Oh, I don't blame you. It is chilly, isn't it? Evening, Kim. Evening, Jackie. I missed something there from Alison, didn't I? Thank you for choosing me for the giveaway last week. I haven't received them yet. Oh, that's not good, is it? Sorry about that. They should be with you.
They've definitely been
I
posted.
will be honest with you. I sent them in on Monday, but I have a feeling they didn't get in the post on Tuesday. So sorry about that, but they will be with you very shortly. I promise they won't be far away. I don't think the weather's helping post at the moment, is it? And I will be honest, we have had these chats here. It's soon going to get to that, oh my gosh, it's Christmas time, isn't it? Where the post sort of slows down. So yeah, not only us, but be patient with everybody if you're waiting for things to come through the post from here on in, because Christmas is going to be a bit tricky, and it always is, and this year I'm sure will be no different. So yeah, do be patient. But it does bring up a good point of our giveaway, so thank you for the reminder, Alison. We have even, you should be impressed by this because this is the third or fourth week that we have not managed to do it, and this week we have even set up our question before we have gone live. So this evening's question for you to win whatever we make is, when do you put up your Christmas decorations? Have you already given in? Is it a certain date of the year that you decide to put them up? Are you a bit like me and only bother once every 5 years? Or do you have a certain ritual? So let us know in the comments, and Pete will pick one winner at random to win whatever we make this evening. To just give away something, because it's always nice to give something away, isn't it? So this evening we are planning on showing you how to make some rosettes. That's sort of the crux of the bit that I thought we would do this evening. If we have more time and you don't have too many questions about anything, because if you have, then that's much more important. But if you don't, then we'll try and fit in a couple more demos as well, or maybe another demo. But if you do have questions, then we'll go off and chat about questions and bits. These evenings really are about what you want and what we can bring you to back up your crafty journey, because it's one thing sort of bringing you the products, it's another thing trying to back it up and give you some sort of education along the way too. Speaking of education, we did decide we was going to tell them, didn't we?
Oh dear.
We did, didn't we?
We did? Did we? Yeah, we did.
We did. Did we? So what hasn't yet been announced, and I don't even, genuinely, this has been conversations in the whole house. Am I allowed to tell you or aren't I? But I'm going to tell you. So if I'm not there, then I got in trouble. On Monday, we are going to be doing a Facebook Live with Craft Stash, who will be launching a whole collection of my goodies. It's an exciting move for us here as a company. It's exciting to be with Craft Stash. I obviously used to do bits with them when I was with Creative Expressions, and it's been a bit of a goal of mine to be big enough as a brand to get back to working with Craft Stash as well. So on Monday, as I say, literally, I can't express this, we are pinging back emails and arrangements back and forth. It's all a bit of a last minute thing. But hopefully Monday we will be live at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on Monday with Craft Stash to bring you some inspiration. And it's lots of different collections, and we're going to be delving in and out of different bits to try and give you some more inspiration. And of course, there'll be some offers and bits available too. But we've got a very busy week. That isn't our only event that's going on next week. We're, of course, back with Highlight Crafts on Tuesday. And the times for that are...
Oh, you put me on the spot. Yeah, 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
So 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. we will be with Highlight Crafts on Tuesday, which again will be broadcast on my page, so you'll be able to keep up with us on there as well. But you can watch on the Highlight Crafts page, and you can watch on the Highlight Crafts website. So lots of inspiration coming your way next week with lots of different collections to hopefully give you a bit more inspiration as well, and give you some chances to grab some bargains. But it's very cool to be able to tell you that we're going to be working with Craft Stash. So I have a feeling there might be a couple of questions about this, and we need to keep it quiet because I don't even know if I'm meant to have told you. So shh about that one. Don't go telling too many people. But equally, I didn't want you to not know. You know me. I like to tell you everything. I'm useless with a secret. 2 weekends before Christmas Day. I hope you're keeping track of the Christmas questions, Peter.
Oh, I'm trying.
Yeah, there's lots of that going on. Have we got anything Craft Stash related? Oh, they seem to be mostly about Christmas from what I can see. Lynn, will the Cosmos set be going to Craft Stash? I cannot buy them in Australia. Oh, there is more Australian news coming. We have another new supplier in Australia that is due to get some goodies any day, aren't they? I'm trying to remember.
Don't ask me what the name.
It's J-Craft. I can tell you that bit, but I can't remember if they ordered the Kaleidoscope collection or not. But if they haven't, they can order it for you, and it can come in their next order. Craft Stash, I think, do ship to Australia. I'm pretty sure I've picked up somewhere they have offices in Australia. But being honest with you, I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'll try and set Pete on doing some Googling, and we'll see if we can find out, because I'm pretty useless with knowing most of this stuff. Sue says never put decorations up before the 15th of December, but none are going up this year as I am being treated to visit my son in the USA. Oh, Sue, that's amazing. Oh, have a lovely time. You're going to have to let us know which bit of the USA. I haven't been to many bits of America, but I am slowly trying to work my way around because I love America and got a bit of a hit list of places I would like to go. So let me know, because I might just gate crash your Christmas. So then, let's get started, shall we? Because I've been waffling for hours and we haven't actually done anything, and I've got lots of waffle, but we need to do something. You need to be here for a reason, not just to listen to me waffle. So this evening, I said we would teach you how to make some rosettes. Now, this is something that's been around for donkey's years, and there are dies about that you can do it with. But I always feel that if we can show you a way to do it with something you've possibly already got, we're sort of killing two birds with one stone. We're saving some pennies. We're giving you more options to create with the items you've already got. Now I'm going to be using our brand new, I say brand new, I suppose it's been out a couple of weeks now, haven't they? Our brand new rectangle nesting dies. But of course you could do this with the squares as well, and I'll talk to you more about that as we go through. Talking of bits and pieces that have been out, and I haven't done this yet, got so carried away. If we've got any of our stockists with us this evening, please drop a link in the comments to let us know that you're here, and of course give back up to anybody who's looking for the items that we'll be highlighting and featuring throughout this evening, so that they know where to go and purchase them. And just a little reminder, we do not sell direct here at Jamie Rodgers Crafts, so if you do wish to buy something that we show you, then do check out the stockist list on the website, which is www.jamierodgerscrafts.com. While you're on there, check out our blog. We've got some amazing blog posts on there, and sign up as well while you're there, so that you can get notified of inspiration launches, shows, all different bits like that. And check out the stockist list, and it'll tell you where you can get hold of your goodies if you don't already have a favourite stockist that you purchase our bits and bobs from. That's all the sort of houseworky bit, isn't it? So let's get on then. Let's play around and make a rosette. So this is really easy. And I say this at this stage, you'll probably go terribly wrong, but it is really easy. So we've got 5 different options, haven't we, in our nested shapes. That one's not meant to be there. Where's that come from? We'll find out. Oh, I've lost one from there. Don't worry, it'll turn up. I've got bits and bobs all over different places today. I'm literally been sort of crafting kind of in 3 different rooms as we prepare kits for the different events next week, and I'm doing some prep work in another room, and then we've got the studio that we're sort of kind of getting ready for tonight. So there's stuff everywhere, so please forgive my chaoticness this evening. But we have 5 different sets with our nesting dies. These are your rectangles. These also come in squares. They will soon, oh here I go, giving out hints and bits, they'll soon be coming in other shapes as well. We do keep telling you that, but it won't be long till we're bringing you another shape, I promise. But these are our latest edition, which are the rectangles, and we're going to go for, let's go for the fluted edge, which is this one up here. And because we're on this board, we will go for the pierced edges as well. So I'm going to be a bit naughty because I could put it at the top here and I could cut 2 out of 1 sheet, but I'll show you why, because we're going to use this other bit in a moment. And we're then going to bring in the pierced elements. I need to get the right sizes here. So this is from the 3rd pierce line down. I don't want it too close to the edge because I'm not trying to create a border. I'm trying to create a pattern that's going to run throughout our rosette. So from the 3rd one down, if you're going to go for the largest in the fluted. So largest fluted, 3rd one down in the pierced. And we're going to keep nesting these together on our board. So if you've not seen these are separate pierce edges. There's no blade on either side of them. This is just a pierced detail die. We do a pierce that comes in with the scallops, and we do a stitch which comes in with the decal edges. And this is really about giving you freedom to mix and match. The whole concept of these dies is that you've got different options that you can create because you've got all of the different pieces. Now you can measure these out and you can make sure that they're exactly spot on if you want to. I'm not that worried. So if they look a little bit wonky or a little bit out, I'm not too bothered by it. One of my tips would be, if you do want to really make sure that everything is spaced out correctly, bring in the scallop dies and lay them back where they should be, and that will give you that point to match up, and then remove them before you cut. And then that way you're going to know that all your spacing is correct. But I really am not that bothered. But if you are, I know some of us like to be really precise, don't we? Life's too short for that, for me. Then I'm going to bring in, this is our ice gold pearl paper card. I don't know how well you're going to see the pearlness in the light because the lights are a bit bright for pearl to be reflective, but hopefully you can see that okay. I really love this. This is something I've been working with a lot recently, because when we colour pearl card, you've probably or hopefully seen, we've done a couple, I think 2 of them have come out so far, where we've used the pearl card and we've inked over the top of it with a quick dry ink pads using the flower dies. The bit I love about pearl card, especially like white pearl card, which is why we bought this one out first, is because you can colour it. You can add ink to it and it will take on the colour that you put over the top, and it will keep its pearlescence. To me, it's a bit magical. The colour doesn't cancel out the pearlescence, it still shines through, which I think is quite cool. The other good bit about this, and I'm going to get Pete to find us the weight because I can't remember off the top of my head.
200, I believe.
Is it 200? It's a thinner GSM to our elite cardstock. Now you can do this with your elite cardstock, but it just gets a bit tougher as you go to do the accordion folds. And I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to use this card because it's slightly easier to sort of form and build. Paper is also really good. So if you've got patterned papers, printed papers, you know, if you want to make these out of some really cool sort of Christmassy papers, you could do that as well. It's not just about our cardstock and papers, it's about showing you what you could be creating these out of. So I'm going to lay the pearl card on top. We're going to send that through the machine. So it's going to cut out our shape. So we're going to end up with that lovely fluted edge, and it's going to pierce in all of them pierced details so that we have created that beautiful effect. Mary's in the comments saying that she loves the fluted. That's lovely to see. I love the fluted. It's hard to pick which one's my favourite, genuinely. I really like the part, and again, I'm probably like most of us, I go in fits and fads. I'm really into the postage stamp one at the moment. I think it's because it's Christmassy. I don't know if it is Christmassy. I suppose it isn't Christmassy. To me, it reminds me of Christmas. That postage edge, that kind of letters to Santa idea. And I suppose maybe that's why it's kind of on my mind a little bit more. But I do sort of yo-yo between which ones I really love and which ones I sort of resonate to more. So as we can see, no trickery here. That's all cut for us. It has, of course, pierced all of the details. So when we lift that away, you can see that we have all of them pierced bits now done, and we've got that cut line running around the edges. So this is what we need. We need a piece of card. And again, measurements can vary. Nothing's too precise for this because everything's to play for. But if I give you a measurement, if I can find where I've put my rule, this panel is approximately 7¼ inches, roughly, to give you an idea in length. And this is why I say you could do this with the squares if you've got the squares. You use less card, or you waste less card if you're working with the rectangles, which is why tonight I'm focusing more on them. It's 18½ centimetres if you're anybody who likes to work in centimetres or prefers to work in centimetres. And then I'm going to bring in a scoreboard. Now again, loads of options for you. We could of course use the centimetre side to the board. I would recommend you go for every centimetre, not every half if you go for centimetres, just because it gets really fiddly trying to fold the ½ centimetre lines. But for this one, I'm going to go for the inches, and I'm going to do every ½ inch. Now like here, I'm starting straight over the top of a pierced line. Don't worry about that, that's not a problem. Honestly, you're not going to know by the time we're finished. And we're going to carry on going down every single line. Now, as you can see, this is bigger than my board, or my panel is bigger than my board. So we're just going to slide it down to one of the grooves, make sure that's fitted in place, it's not moving, and we're going to continue on with them score lines so that we have ½ inch score lines done all the way across this. Now, here's the trick. We've done this first before we cut it down, so that we haven't got two small panels that we're trying to score, because it's fiddly to score small things. But we're not going to fold it because we want to cut it. So we're going to bring in our trimmer, and we're going to pick what size we want our rosette to be. So I'm going to go for, let's go for a 1½ inch one this time. So there's a couple of ways you could go about this. You could measure it from that end if you like, bring it out, cut it off at 1½ inch. I tend to go by the line instead and stick to ½ inch blocks. I love this trimmer because it has that. It's a Crafts 2-1, brilliant trimmers. But I'm going to bring that in, and we're going to line that up, and we're going to go down at 1½ inches. We're then going to turn this panel round, and we're going to do exactly the same from the other side, because we want two of these. Now, the bigger you go, and by bigger I mean deeper, so if you wanted to do a 4-inch one of these or a 3-inch one of these, the more strips you're going to want. So, and that will come clearer hopefully again in a moment. Now, this part in the middle here is technically waste. I don't really need it, and this is why I say if you use the rectangles, you've got less waste than if you use the squares. But it doesn't have to be waste. You could do the same with this. You could use it if you want to. What we're now going to do is we're going to start at one end, and it doesn't really matter where, but we're going to fold in from that first line, and then we're going to fold back and forth. So I'll bring this up. We're going to fold back and forth against each line. So we're making a like an accordion style fold. Now, as I say, you've probably seen this a million times. This probably isn't new to you, but it is something I really like to do, and I find it really effective. And I really like adding in that pierced detailing that is going to come through with this die set. We're then going to do exactly the same with our next one. So it doesn't, again, matter too much where we start, but we're going to fold back and forth all the way. Let us know if there's any questions, Peter.
I think my comments are frozen, so I'm just going to try and...
Oh no, what have you done? I've got Jean Bundy as my last question, saying that's brilliant.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah, does that help you?
Maybe
Or
they're
not
just
question,
engrossed in your
comment?
folding.
They might do. A little
They're
bit
very
of
quiet and
oregano.
well behaved.
Don't forget to tell us what your date of putting your Christmas decorations up is, so that you are in to win what we make. That was worded very poorly, but hopefully you know what I mean. I'm hoping that we haven't crashed. We still all seem to be there. Somebody comment and let us know that you're still there. That me and Pete aren't just chatting in a little room all on our own. It's always possible. It will happen one day. So we've created our 2 panels and we now have our 2 pieces. Oh, testing. Fran's testing. Thanks, Fran. Always nice to have somebody with us who's on it.
Thanks,
Thank you, Van. So now we've got our 2 pieces. What we're going to do is we're going to start looking to the ends of them. So we're going to look at this one and we can see that looks slightly long. So we're going to bring in a pair of scissors and we're going to cut that down just slightly. And we're going to add some double-sided tape onto the end here. Now I'm using our double-sided tape for this. This is our new one that we launched last week. But you could use your red liner tape, you could use your power tape, you can use whatever tape you tend to do your construction with. I found this is quite good because it does stand up to the pressure that we're going to put it under. But absolutely, you know, if you've got red liner tapes or power tapes or anything else, then don't worry. On the other panel, because we're currently, I'll hold it that way so you can see hopefully what I mean. So at the moment, we're going up at this point, but at this end, we're also going up. We don't want to be starting on an up, because if we glue that one to that one, we're going to end up with a flat panel in the middle of our V's. So we're going to cut off this fluted edge, and we don't want a fluted edge anyway, embedding into the middle of the next one. So we're going to come in and we're going to cut that tab off. And we're going to remove that part. And we're going to take off our tape, and we're going to bring this round and join one to the other. Now you should find that your fluted edge matches up, which is kind of cool because we haven't changed the pattern, we're still in the same place. Now I'm going to try and get my glue gun to come on and warm up, which has always been a struggle. I can never actually activate it, but it looks like it's doing its job, so that's okay. And then we're going to go to the other end. So if you've never made one of these before, we're going to wrap this all the way round so that one end overlaps the other end. That's the aim of this. So we need to interlock them at the opposite end. So straight away, I can see that we're ending on these little loose tabs, and I don't want a loose tab. So we're going to cut off the end, getting rid of that scallop bit. And then we're going to go to this end. Now again, because we're going up at that end, and we're up at this end once we've cut off this scallop bit. So I'll do it so you can see what I mean. We're still both on an up path. Yeah? So we're going to take away this end tab as well. And then that way we'll be on a downward tab. So we'll cut that bit off. And we're going to come out of this side and we're going to add some tape on. We're going to take that part away again. And then we're going to bring this round, and we can loop it right the way around, making sure that we're up and down at each tab. We can match up our scallops this end as well, so everything's nice and neat and matching. If you've found that you've cut your line slightly off, don't worry, you're not going to see it. Well, I've got like a minor little like 1 mil bit that I'm off here, not a problem. You're not going to see that. So when that goes down, and you can see it now in this sense, it should literally go up and down and up and down and up and down all the way around. So it looks a bit like a comic strip splat mark or something along them lines. That's what I'm seeing for some reason.
Or a cookie cutter or something maybe.
Cookie cutter, yeah, that's good, Pete. Yeah, like a cookie cutter effect. Or a star maybe. But it shouldn't have any flat bits. It should be jagged at all options. Then we're going to bring in this bit because we don't want to waste anything. So if you're not, and you can make a rosette out of this. There's no reason why you can't fold that, make a rosette out of this. But if you don't want to make a rosette out of this part, then this is a good part to come in and cut. And we're going to take just a small square of this. Doesn't, again, no measurement matters. It's just going to be the base that's going to hold it together. We're going to bring in our glue gun and we're going to put some glue out onto this little panel. It doesn't have to be a glue gun. And it certainly doesn't have to be one of these ones, but it's just a way of an instant glue. We're then going to hold our shape over the top of the glue, and we're going to pick 2 sides, and we're going to start bringing this down. You might not be able to see this too well, but it will fold in, and we're going to push that down on top of the glue. Then when I'm here, and I'm trying to do this so you can see it, where's my glue gone? I'll come back. That went terribly wrong. Let's try again. Let's add a bit more glue on there. when we're trying to put it down into place, what I'm also going to do is leave a little gap in the centre and bring in just a small amount of glue, not loads because you don't want it sort of seeping out the top, but put a little bit into the centre and then give it a squidge. Give it a squidge and then hold it. And you have created your rosette. Once your glue is set, you have got your rosette created. And this is what I love about using the nesting dies, because I've done these for years on scoreboards and bits like we have, but you don't normally get the fluted edge. And the fluted edge is really lovely to see. I'm going to put a piece of card under it so you can see that slightly better. Please excuse the strings of the glue gun. I'll get rid of them in a second. But you can see that you've created that pierced effect and you've got that fluted edge and it matches the whole way around. Now, it doesn't break anywhere. It isn't wonky anywhere. It's matched the whole way around. And to me, that's really cool because it just gives us a different style of effect created from something that we've potentially already got in our stash. Now, of course, you can do this with all of the different edges. I've done the fluted one. You could have gone for the plain ones. You could have gone for the postage ones. You could have gone for the scallop ones. I've got different examples I'll show you with you in a minute so you can see some others. But that's how we're going to build our rosette element for this project. Now, here's one I did earlier. Now, if you remember when we cut this one, we cut this panel to 1.5 inches. This one is one I've done at 2 inches. And I wanted to show you this because it doesn't mean, or it does mean, you can start stacking them. And we talk about Christmas, and you might wonder about our Christmas tree question this evening. Imagine making your Christmas decorations out of these. Imagine bringing in multiple sizes. Maybe you do the next one down at 1 inch, the next one down at 1/2 inch, stacking them together and turning them into a little Christmas tree. You could even put, because of these are quite open, you could easily thread a needle through it. You could suspend them. You could put little tubes between them if you wanted to put a bit of height. You could put some foam tape in between them. You could take them and you could put them back to back. Obviously the same size, but you could put them back to back with a ribbon or a thread in between them, turn them into decorations. There is loads you're going to be able to do with these. If this isn't something you've done before, these are so much fun to create and play with and to build up and make some really fun ornaments and decorations out of. So hopefully that helps. I see Lynn's asking, what are the score plates used through the middle? What are the score plates you've used through the middle? Lynn, I'm lost. Pete, are you with me? You might mean our scoreboard. Might mean this. This is an arc, or no, what's the expression? From the arc, maybe. A relic? A relic. I think it was a relic I was
older than me? No.
No, it's not older than you, Pete. Good Lord, no.
Right.
This is a Hugie board. These are scoreboards that have been around for about 20 years, and I don't actually, and I know they're not made anymore, so forgive me for showing you something that we can't tell you too much about or recommend where you can get hold of them. But it's just a scoreboard, and you'll find lots of different brands of scoreboards available around. It's just having the ability to have a neat scoreboard. I really like this one because it's size and shape and portability. They did used to do bigger ones, 12-inch ones as well, but you know, virtually every big brand does a scoreboard now. There's a Sizex one that comes with a trimmer on the side of it. Crafters Companion do one. Craft Stash, I think, might have their own brand of one. I think Kit and Caboodle do one. So yeah, just search for a scoreboard. You won't be far out. Vass and Creative do them. There's loads of different scoreboards, and all of them, and I've had many over my time, but I always go back to the Hugie board. I don't know why. I think it's because it's an A4-ish one. Several of the others I've bought are bigger, which is great if I'm at my desk and I'm sort of working with them 24/7. But if I'm sort of carrying them around and trying to clear out my desk to do these, then I find these ones kind of handy. But yeah, so have a little look if that was your question. If it wasn't, and I've gone off on a completely different tangent, then it's probably completely wrong. I have, by the looks of it. Lynn's telling us the central rectangles. So these were our pierced and fluted edge rectangles. Peter will probably be able to find us some in packets, so I can show you the packets as well. Or if not, the square ones will do, Pete. Have a little dig, see what you can find us. We've got all of this stuff up here somewhere, and I should have thought to bring these in ready, but I didn't, because I'm a bit of an arner. I'll have all of them. Let's show Lynn the lot over there, flapping for them. So these are the ones I was using. So these are your Mats and Layers collection fluted rectangles. So there's a set of 5, or there's 5 in the collection, and they all intermix. So you might choose to cut the fluted edge like I've got here. Let's get rid of them a second. you might choose to cut that bit. You might wish to put in a pierced edge, and then you might wish to cut out the centre with a plain edge. And this was what I really wanted, was you to have the ability to bring in all of these different panels and move them around so you could play with them and create your frames. And me and Pete was talking about this last time. I'm going off on another tangent now. Me and Pete was talking about this last time. I can't tell you too much about where this conversation come from or why just yet. But we were playing with some corner dies, and I was saying to Pete, actually, as we build out our collections, which you're going to be seeing already, but more coming, what we've kind of bought is loads of different ways that you can make your own frames. And as a scrapbooker, that really excites me. And as we build on more of the nesting dies, you're going to find that you're going to be able to put more of them inside each other so that you can create your own frames and bits. And this is probably a very cryptic conversation, and I will explain more soon, I promise. But it's just trying to give you the bits that you can create with instead of, and the conversation led from, I'd cut one, and I've done a few of these, so I'll show you what I mean. Let's show you on the boards a little bit more what I mean. So if we went to, excuse me while I dig for a second, if we went to some of our corner dies, and you said, actually, I'm going to take this panel, I'm going to put the pierced detail in, and then I'm going to bring in the snowflake corners, and we're going to place these on the inside, and we're going to send this through, which we'll do so you can see what I mean. But this was a similar project to what we was looking at last night, me and Pete, that I'd been creating. And I can't tell you too much. I'm probably saying too much already. But it's kind of like giving you endless frames and panel dies. But like if that was a die actually made and all in one piece, all regimental, like you see it, I feel like you would be paying £15, £20 for that one die, where actually, by giving you all of the individual components, you can go off and make them to whatever size, style, and way you want to make them. And don't get me wrong, it's possibly dearer to buy lots of different components, but the options and the endless opportunity between them is worth its weight in gold. So just to clarify, because I sort of went off on a different tangent, you've got your fluted rectangles, you've got your decal edge and stitched rectangles, you've got your scalloped and pierced rectangles, and these are the two that have got the separate edges. So this one's stitched, this one's pierced. Then you've got your plain rectangles and your postage rectangles. So all of these can be intermingled to create different effects. For our rosette, we used the pierced details from the scallop set, and we used the fluted edge from the fluted rectangle set. So we started off with the largest one of these, and then we went in from the third size down of the pierced details all the way down to one before the end, basically, the penultimate one to the middle. Laid all of them together and cut it out, which is how we created our rosette panel. So this is the bit, and we're going off way onto different tangents, so apologies, but this is kind of like what we was talking about yesterday. So if we go ahead and we take out these little snowflake corners, and I haven't even found a pokey tool yet, which I really should have done. Let's see if I can find a pokey tool to free these without creating any problems. Let's see if we can find a pokey tool. See if I can find one. Where have I hid my pokey tool? I've got hundreds of pokey tools. We'll keep on revealing, don't worry, Pete. See what you can find. There is one in here somewhere. I only had it. Oh, I know why I haven't got it. I took it into the other room the other day. Do you want to go find me one? Because I don't want to damage my corners. Please, Pete. Yeah, thank you. Of all the things to forget. Oh, there we go. We're out anyway of all of them bits. But I want to take these out so you can see them. We'll do this corner so you can see that. But this is what I mean about you building up your own frames without having to purchase loads of different dies to do that. Because this is, and excuse these bits, we'll take them out in a second, I promise. But here you've got your fluted edge, you've got your snowflake corners, and you've got your pierced line. And that's just one of the options that you could create by playing with the different corners. And now with like the oval die that we've bought you for the butterfly, we put 4 corners into the set with the butterfly oval. And I'll show you that in case you don't know what one I mean. From the latest release, the tile collection, Pete, the butterfly oval, elegant butterfly oval, please. In with that, we gave you 4 corners because we could. So we added 4 corners in, and they again are separate ones with separate edges. Thanks, Pete. So like this set, for instance, you've got your 4 corners in here, and they've again got separate outside edges. So these are perfect, again, for putting into this and creating a butterfly version of this instead of a snowflake version. And that's what I really love about giving you all of these edges or all of these panels and dies without edges, it gives you more ability to go in and cut and create unique panels. Now, of course, we used a rectangle, but we could have used one of our square designs instead. And it just gives you that play, that ability to go off and create. And I like this shape. I haven't done this yet with this one, but you look at that and then you think about bringing in maybe the tile and putting that into the middle with a Christmas design on it. Maybe Rodney's little face poking out from the side there. Blue card, not black card. Bit of blue on Rodney's scarf perhaps, or stamped in blue. Sentiment off to the side. You've got a completely different effect to what you would have imagined, all just by bringing them corners in and putting them into these sides. So yeah, and I'm probably waffling, so forgive me. But it's that kind of bit that I really love because it gives you so many ways to go off and play and experiment. So we'll go back to our Rosette card because I want to finish something that we're going to give away today. Don't forget to let us know in the comments when you put your Christmas decorations up, and we'll enter you in to win whatever I do actually make today in between my endless waffling. I need one of them brushes, tools with the brushes on the end. Probably, honestly, I've got about 6 of them. I just don't know where I've put it. I even have one that I keep up here, just in this room, and I can't find it. Honestly, I'm so disorganised. It's not even funny. But we'll go on to our rosette and we'll continue on with our card. So then, what we're going to do next is we're going to bring in a blending mat. So if you didn't see our blending mats launch last week, these are our new blending mats. And we're going to find a piece of A5 white card and we're going to bring in our metallic inks. I say that because I forgot where I put them. I found the card, Pete. That was my code for Pete to find them, but I found them. Thank you, Pete. So I've got my piece of card and we're going to bring in our metallic inks to do this with. Now, this is going to be a bit of a painting technique today instead, because I like the fact that we can do this with our metallic inks as well. So we're going to bring them in and we're going to take the colour out onto our mat. So that one was Sea Breeze Blue. This one is Brushed Gold. Then we're going to do some Royal Purple. I'll have a bit more of that one. And we're going to do some Silver Lining because it's a nice soft shade to do the blending with. And that'll come clear in a minute. The only one I'm not going to use is the black because I wanted this panel to be kind of light and airy and fluffy, and I didn't want it to be too dark. So I left out the black, and we're going to mist with some water to activate these colours, and we're going to find a slightly larger piece of card to put underneath this one, just so we don't go onto the table. And we're going to start picking these colours up onto our A5 piece. I might actually have a bit more water in with these because I really want them to be quite fluid. And this is what I love about these ink pads. Not something you'd necessarily imagine from a pigment ink, but actually we can take them and we can turn them perfectly into a watercolour ink as such. So I'm going to just do a background with these, but you could be using this to do some splatting with, which we'll do in a second, or you might choose to do this and paint in an image, which I think we did one week, maybe last week. We did a bit of painting with them in a more detailed fashion. But for this one, we're just going to do a line stripy background. So each colour is just going to come in and overlap slightly. Now you can do this on darker card as well, but obviously the darker the card is, you tend to lose a little bit of the colour because we're diluting the colour down. If you stamp the inks onto dark card, then they come out really lovely. But obviously where we're diluting them with water, they're going to be a bit softer if we go on to darker shades. And then we're going to bring in that silver. We're going to join them lines together. We're going to go back to the purple. Now you can clean your brush in between each of these if you want it to be slightly neater or crisper, but I'm not too worried. I'm more about the blend. I'm more trying to create just like an ombre effect in a sense, really. More of a mix than a crisp effect. I could do it with just a small amount more of the gold. So we'll go off to this edge of the pad and we'll mist that with some water. These blending mats are brilliant. I don't know, we have shared the video already, haven't we? We did a video showing you how, was it a reel? It was a reel on Facebook if you've not seen it, showing you how you can letterpress with the blending mats. That's really cool. If you've not seen that before, have a little look down the page and it will appear, I'm sure. But that was quite a cool idea, showing you how you could literally ink, stamp on top of, send the blending mats through your machine and it will transfer off. But if you have a little look at this, that's our background that we're creating. So very easy to do, nothing complicated here. You might find it dries slightly lighter than you see it in this stage. If it's a bit brighter than you want it to be, or you don't feel that your blend lines are as good as you want them to be, give it a bit of a mist with water, and you should find that will travel slightly more and blend in a bit more. That's not a problem to do that. But once done and dry, I would then die cut out of it. So again, I've bought in my squares. This is the scallop squares, and I've bought in the pierced squares, which come with the scalloped edge, to cut out this panel. And we're going to use that on our card in a moment. So let's bring in the pieces and build this back together. So onto our card blank. Oh, here's the bit, just so you can see, that's literally where that one's been cut from, just so you see where it actually come from and how it's going to formulate together. We're then going to go to our card blank and we'll start building this up and bringing this in. Now, another reason that I love having separate inside edges to outside edges, now let's see if I can just grab these square dies from here, is because it means that we can bring these edges in and decorate even our card blanks. So this is a store-bought card blank. This one is, I think, a 7x7 by memory, but we'll give you a measurement just in case. Yeah, so a 7x7 card blank. So card blanks, I don't know if all brands do this, but the brand I use, the envelope is 7x7, not the card blank. So the card blank is fractionally under 6 3/4. And I'm going to bring in one of the pierced edges. This time I'm actually going to use the stitch edge because I've got the deckled edge squares here. So I've brought in the third one down, and I tell you this because if you've got 8x8 card blanks, for instance, you'd probably want to use the large one, or of course you could work down to any of them right the way down to the very, very small one, which is about 1.5 inches, if I remember rightly. We would then place this stitch line just onto the card blank. We would open up the card blank and send it through the machine. And what that's going to do for us, obviously this one's a pierce, but it's going to add that detail directly onto the front of our card blank, which is a really cool way to jazz up your cards. And especially if you like doing clean and simple cards and you don't always want to have loads going on with them, it's kind of a cool way to actually make a bit of detail without actually bringing in colour and too many mats and layers. So again, if you're sort of postage conscious like we all are now, and you don't want to have too much height and depth to your project, then again, that can be quite a cool way to bring in detail without having to up the ante with too many layers. Because of the rosette is made out of our pearl card, I've gone for a pearl card layer, again cut with the scallop squares, and then we're going to go on to our next layer up. So this is a square I've cut down on a guillotine. This square, just to give you some size ideas, is 5.5 inches. What I've then done is I've put it onto my scoreboard and I've scored it at every 0.5 centimetre. Now, if you've followed me for a while, you're probably going to know this is something I love to do because it gives you like a soft, subtle background without too much definition, without too much height, without too much prominence, so that it doesn't steal the show from what we lay on top of it, but equally it's not too plain. So again, if you're into your sort of clean and simple look, it can be quite a nice way to create some interest without doing anything too dramatic. I love a 3D folder, don't get me wrong, but I do find with 3D folders, I don't always want to cover them up. They're sort of more the focal points of the project. So actually having the ability to score my own background or keep something quite simple can be quite nice. If you don't like scoring, then one of our stencils embossed instead can be quite nice. Something like the pinstripe stencil. The pinstripe stencil, I suppose, if I'm honest, come about because I like doing this technique. So it gave us a stencil version that we could emboss instead, if you would prefer. We're then going to bring in our striped piece of card and we're going to place that on the top. Now again, the lines in the background matching quite nicely with the lines that we've painted. So even though it's not exactly the same, because this one's obviously a lot more blurred and a lot wider, kind of complements where we're going with the design and everything's kind of matching together. We're then going to bring this in and we'll use some of our glue to go onto the back of this. Now we could glue gun this on, we could foam tape this on if you prefer, but I don't need this just yet, so I'm going to bring that in and I'm going to put our glue onto the reverse of it. And we're going to place that down on the card. I'm going to spin it just so the joins are parallel. And then we're going to add a bit of glue onto the top here and we're going to bring it in a pearl to finish this one off. Now you could have used the smaller rosette, which I'd already done, if you wanted to see more of the painting, more of the pearlescence shine through from the ink pads in the background. But actually I'm quite happy with the larger rosette on this one. Or again, you could have stacked them if you preferred. On my finished example here, I added a little sheer ribbon around it, just in gold, to tie in with the colours of ink that have been used for the painting. Now I'll probably add a ribbon onto this one before we send this out to our winner, just so it matches in with that one. But it shows you quite simply and easily how you could take your rosette and you could build that up and create your effect with it. So are there any questions that I've missed before I delve too far in? Mary says she's just ordered some 7x7 cards. That's great, that's brilliant. That'll be perfect for what you're doing. Fran, do we have any suggestions to cover edges of cards? Not the cut edge, but the border area. Hopefully that makes sense. Cover the edges of the cards, not the cut edge, but the border area.
She means like blending. So you have
Do
a
you mean
border,
like
you
blending,
mean,
Fran? Let us know if you mean blending. We'll do a bit of blending. We can always go into blending. There's not a problem. We've got inks. We can play blending. Let us know, and we'll try that again. Cover the edges of your cards, not the cut edge, but the border area. I'm being really silly, Fran. I'm sure that makes perfect sense to everybody else reading it other than me. I always feel you get to see, genuinely, this is the one thing I worry about with lives, you get to see just how sort of silly I am and how much it goes over my head. So forgive us, but please give us a bit more detail and I'll try and dig in. In the meantime, let's have a look at a few more samples. So you'll see these posted up on our page over the next few days. But to give you, and I think you see this one yesterday, but because I like to show you the different versions and I was playing around with the different sizings and the different edges. So this one, if you was wondering, is done with the postage stamp edge. So I'm going to bring in a piece of black card actually, and we'll try and put that just under there, just so you can see that edge clearer, so it's not on the same pearlescence. But that's the postage stamp edge. This one's kind of fun because with this one, what I've done is I've done the same rosette style as what we just did, but I've cut a rectangle with a square out of the middle, so nested scallop squares with the square pierced edge. Rectangles are the same designs for the outside, laid that over the top of the rosette, so the rosette is actually hidden underneath it. And I thought that was kind of fun, kind of cool, different way to use a rosette. Another one here that I've done and brought in some flowers and added those on around the corners, some of our leaves as well. In the background, we've got our butterfly stencil that's been inked with our piggy pink ink. And then over the top, I've put some of the argentite texture base. But it just shows you how you don't have to stop when you've built your rosette. The rosette's quite a cool landing space to bring in more items as well if you'd like to. And then another one here showing you a larger rosette. So this one's quite a biggie. So let's give you a size on this one. This one would have been cut when we guillotine it at 2.5 inches. So your strips are 2.5 inches. As you get bigger, where we did two sides, didn't we? So we did two sides of the rectangle. We did the top and the bottom. For this one, I then did another panel, another top, for instance. So there's 3 joins, 3 panels that have been joined together to make this one. Because I found the further out I went, the more card I needed to make that join and not to make it too stretched out. And if you look here, not that this is too stretched out, but the bigger we go, the more that stretch comes out. So obviously, the more panels you put in, the thinner together it's going to be. So if you have a look here, although we've gone nearly double the distance, we're still only as stretched out at the end point as we are with the smaller one. Where if I put that in the centre, you can see, and you can probably guess here, if I didn't add in more, there wouldn't have been enough card to go round to make that whole join. So if you find that they're not stretching far enough, add in another panel. Okay? Hopefully that explains how to do your rosettes. If you've got any questions about them, let me know. We'll sort of clarify. But hopefully that will give you a bit of idea on what you're doing. Fran, that sounds like a plan. The visible area around a topper, but behind the topper. That's easier to follow. Been a long day, so likely me being unclear. Not at all, Fran. You're being perfectly clear. It's just me being a bit dense, which happens more than I should ever confess. So the edge around them, so if you don't want to see under the edges, I tend to just put my foam tape closer to the edge. So if you're worried about seeing, and some people do, and I've met a lot of people who worry about this, especially seeing the visible foam tape from underneath them. There's a couple of different options. You can put your foam tape right to the edge of what you're doing, which is one way. Another way is kind of why my canvas dies come around. I don't know if you've seen my canvas dies when I did them with Creative Expressions, but it's basically creating boxes instead of creating your card. And by a box, I mean scoring at 2 different points and folding it round so that there's nowhere to see underneath it, because you get the edge of the card instead. And you can do that. The canvases were 7mm deep, but you can do that on a 0.5 centimetre instead. And you can do it thinner than that if you wanted to, depending on your scoreboard. But literally folding the card around so you don't see the edge can work quite nicely. Another tip, a bit like with this one, depending, obviously you've got the edge from this side, but that's kind of a nice way to not see the edges of your rosette, is by hiding it underneath another panel. And then you've just got this one clear panel instead of having lots of edges come through. So hopefully that helps. Kathleen, I love these, especially the one with the cut out shape and the rosette underneath. This one, yeah, I'm glad you like that. I thought that was a different idea. Not something I'd seen done before with rosettes. Probably somebody's done it somewhere along the line. I can remember the first time I see rosettes being done, Tim Holtz was doing them. And I was just blown away by how you could create such cool effects with them. And something I've always enjoyed doing. And now, as I said earlier, to be able to bring in sort of nesting dies and be able to create those into rosettes, to me is kind of a fun idea. So yeah, just something to give you a bit of food for thought if it's something you haven't tried. And if you wanted to do your own Christmas decorations, which is something I absolutely love doing, and building them up. And if you ever come to my classes, I think we did something similar to that, and we put about 6 of them back to back and made like a hanging bauble out of patterned paper. Really cool to do. Don't forget, I used our pearl card. That's our ice gold pearl card. I think I see somebody asked, sorry I forgot the name, but somebody asked what card I'd used. This is our pearl ice gold card that I was working with. It's a 200 GSM, so it doesn't get too clunky when you're trying to do your folds back and forth. You can use our elite card, but where that's 300 GSM, it does kind of get a bit tough to do all of the folds. It's not impossible, but if you can use something slightly thinner, not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Deborah's got her canvas collections. The canvas dies are great. I'm not even convinced I have finished with that idea yet. I don't know, and I can't tell you too much on that one. It's not on the plans yet, but I'd really like to go back and do something different with the canvas dies. And I can't tell you too much because I haven't even thought of it yet, but it'd be something fun to do. Could you use the waist piece to make it longer if the edge was die cut? You could do, yes, Lynn. That's a really good idea, actually. It's something I hadn't thought of. If you was to take, and I don't know where I've put my waist bit now. I do, it's on the floor. I'll see if I can retrieve it. But if you wanted to, and I've lost where I've put my nesting die now, it's actually a really good idea, Lynn. Oh, Pete's give it back to me. Here we are. Let's go back to the overhead so you can see what I mean. If you took this panel and put that back over that edge, then you could cut that again. Because I've added the pierce details in the middle, you might find your pierce lines are slightly different. But if you had 2 of these and you did it with 2 pieces from the centre, then yes, I can't see why that wouldn't work. And the bit that's left from the centre of this one is just shy of 2 inches, so could easily be cut down. So yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't use that bit. That would be quite a good idea, to be honest. So yeah, give that a try. It's always nice to think of ways to use the bits that, in a sense, are waste, but aren't waste, because nothing's ever wasted, is it? And there's certainly ways in which you could be using them. Another thing you could do with this, and we're going off on a tangent, I did one of these but I didn't use it, is actually take this and fold this back and forth so that you've got a bit of a shape going on, and then we'll get rid of that bit because I've cut off some of mine. But you could then take, and this one isn't quite level, but I'll show you the idea in case it's something that sort of sparks an idea. Then take a square die and cut out a little frame, and like we put the rosette under that window, do the same with this part, so that you could easily zhuzh that up a bit so it's slightly more intense. Don't forget ours is cut down, but cut out a frame. Now you could choose to use different edges with this, and you might not want to go quite that big, but I'm grabbing at speed, and then have that as your central part so it's not wasted, and it would give you this style of effect instead, but more as like a shutter. Or again, you could use that and put it from inside an edge, going from corner to corner. So yeah, there's nothing wasted really, but in the scheme of making the rosette as I did, then yeah, that's kind of where I was going with the sort of waste idea of it. Yeah, I've got a craft room like that too, so mine's full of bits that I think I can't part with that. One day I'm going to use it. One day that's going to come in for something. They do from time to time, absolutely. So it's good to keep hold of things and good to be frugal. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that's part of being a crafter, isn't it? Is we kind of hoard bits and hold on to them. So yeah, absolutely. Now, if you've got any more questions on those, let me know and we will answer those. If we haven't, we will try and fit in another demo with you. I've been with you 55 minutes. That's gone rather quick today, isn't it? But we'll try and fit in another demo, shall we? So what shall we do? Shall we... let's do this one. Yeah, let's go off and do this one. I'm not even showing you them tonight, am I? I'll play with this one because this is fun. And it brings in our lovely butterfly die set. And actually it brings in the deckled edges again. So yeah, we'll play with this because this is a fun one to show you a little bit more from. And one I haven't yet got to demo. And we're going to also play with the inks because I can never get enough of playing with these inks. I know loads of you have purchased these and have been playing with them. What do you think of them? And this is a genuine question and not just always about positivity, although obviously I hope you fall in love with them as much as I have. And if you haven't, please let me know why you haven't. But if you have or you haven't, let us know in the comments because it's always nice to see what you're thinking of them and how you're getting on with them. And this is something actually that I'd love you to do as well. If you haven't already been on the new website, this is our Jamie Rodgers Crafts website, so www.jamierodgerscrafts.com. If you click on a product now, underneath the product, it will give you the ability to review the product. Now, I know a few of you have been doing this, and I'm going to share your reviews. I'm going to put together some posts and put them up on our Facebook page, just so you can see what each other's thinking of different items. But if you haven't yet gone and reviewed one of our products that you've got, and it doesn't have to be the ink, it can be anything you've purchased from the Jamie Rodgers Crafts collection, I would genuinely love you to review it. Positive and negative. We can only improve things if we know what to improve. But equally, either way, it's nice to hear from you and know what you're thinking. So with the inks, in the comments, let us know what you're thinking of them if you've played with them. Now then, what we're going to do this time is we're going to bring in our inks again, and we're going to start off by taking these and placing them down onto our blending mat. So I'm using one of our new large blending mats, which is great for this technique, and we're going to keep layering these up and building them. Now, I do keep telling you this, I'm more messy than I would expect or hope you are. I'm not too worried if I contaminate an ink by getting a little bit of the previous colour on it. I don't recommend you do that. So don't, if one of them don't do as I'm doing kind of rules really or thoughts. But we're going to take the colours and we're going to just dot them down into any areas we can see. And again, I'm going to leave out the black this week. When we did this last week, I added the black in and I kind of regretted that I'd put the black in because you end up with kind of harsher black bits than necessarily I would have liked. So I'm going to leave the black out, but it depends on what you're doing. If you're going to be stamping in black on top of this, then maybe that's kind of nice to have that little hint of black in the background. But if you're not, it can be kind of nice to leave the black one out because it's more of a prominent shade than the other four are. Mist with some water to activate the inks and get them sort of fluid again and so that we can play with them. And then we're going to bring in a piece of our polar white card and we're going to start picking this colour up. So we painted with them earlier, obviously mixing them with water. This time we're going to start doing some splotting or splodging or pick-up technique, whatever you know it as, but play with them and start lifting them up. Mine came this morning, says Jean. Haven't had a chance to use them yet. Well, no rush, Jean, don't worry. Fran, are you going to get more colours? Would love summer colours. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
Chose some colours.
Maybe.
Yesterday.
Shh, Peter, shh. They can hear you now. You can't tell them this
mic's turned
stuff.
off, isn't it?
There may be new colours coming. Maybe. To be honest, it's always very tricky for us because until we start to see what your feedback is and to see how you react to a product, it's always hard to know how far ahead to plan future releases. But I will be honest with these. We knew you was going to love them. We knew they was going to be popular. And maybe there are some new colours coming. They'll be with us early next year, potentially, maybe. And are they summery? Could you class them as summery? If there was some coming.
If there's some coming.
If there was some coming, then I think you could say they're summery. And they might fit very nicely into the gaps of the 5 that we've got already. But this is what we do. We try to... No, Pete, more secrets, please. Yeah, this isn't good, is it? You can't encourage him to
Leading
tell
me
you
astray.
more. Leading Pete astray is never good. But yeah, there
I was
will be
thinking we
more.
could,
next
you
year.
know, to avoid our late night, midnight naming challenge, we could tease one colour at some point and ask them
We ought to,
for
yeah.
name suggestions.
And me and Pete often do this. We honestly, we
That's how
love
Rodney
our
was
world.
born.
We love our world and we love what we do, but we do some very strange hours to keep up with everything that's going on. And I say we, I think all of us do as a sort of behind the scenes team too. But we do often end up, and I don't know why, we seem to end up naming products about 2 a.m, genuinely. So they always end up as quite bizarre names, which is hence how Rodney was born. Rodney was a 2 a.m. decision. And then it's too late because the names are sent off and the packaging's done and everything's sorted and we're stuck with them then. But yeah, but Pete's right, maybe we should let you name some colours. So we'll have to do that one day. Have to do that. Pete's got the look.
Fran suggested possibly a fuchsia pink might be nice.
A fuchsia pink would be a very good idea.
It would, wouldn't it?
Very, very good idea. Yes, it would be a very good idea to have a fuchsia pink. So anyway, I'm waffling, aren't I? Let's have a little look at this. So this is what we've created already. Now, I'm going to be honest. I always feel this when I show these on screen. They look so much nicer in reality than I think they do on screen. On screen, you get like this bit looks really harsh and bright blue, like the colour of the top of the ink pad. I don't know, maybe it's just our screen, but it isn't. It's a really light sort of tonal blue, and the mix is really beautiful, actually seeing where it blends. Let's give you a closer look in case it's where it is. But it is so much softer than it actually looks on screen in here in reality. If it's a bit bright, then give it a mist and let it sort of play and blend out slightly more, a bit like we did when we painted the lines. But yeah, they are very soft and very lovely. So that's our first technique that we're going to do. And hopefully, as you can see it drying, can you see that lovely sort of metallic coming through even more? Especially here, there's like a nice bright silver line that's starting to shine through. But we'll leave that to one side. We might come back to that later if I remember. We'll give you a bit of a flash of that again so you can see what I mean about it drying. We had any other ruby red and a jade green, Pete? It's very funny how we all think on the same lines. But yeah, I can't tell you anymore because I tell you everything.
They're
I can't
fishing.
tell you everything. They are fishing, a little bit. But yes, there may be more colours. Mary suggested we call one of our snowmen Trigger. There are going to be more snowmen. I think we've told you that before. I do confess a lot of the same stuff when I see you. But yeah, there will be more snowmen next year. No official date yet, nothing I can tell you too much about. There will be more snowmen to join in with Rodney. And we have already had the chat about can we actually get away with calling them all the Only Fools and Horses names. Pete's a little bit scared we might get in trouble. But I would quite like to do that because I think it would be funny to have whole
front
collection.
page news if the BBC comes after Jamie Rodgers. Can you imagine?
Arrested for
maybe we can have some suggestions for headlines.
Headlines of Crafter goes rogue and borrows all of the names of the Only Fools and Horses cast. We have to be careful actually. I was reading someone the other day and their Facebook video got took down because they felt that it was a breach of branding or something along them lines. Yeah, I was quite shocked about it. I didn't know that was a thing. So we have to be careful. I shouldn't probably even be talking about Only Fools, but it is a lovely show, isn't it? Did anyone see the other day that David Jason's looking for work? He's this isn't a call on his behalf. But
are you his agent?
Yeah, I'm his agent. That's another job that we fit in. I've lost my stamp press, Pete. Yeah, he's 82 and reckons, and I only read the headline, I didn't get a chance to read the article, but he reckons that he's desperate for work and they don't write enough parts anymore for 80-year-olds. And I thought that was kind of sad. I thought that was, so I hope somebody signs him up for something because he's a great actor, isn't he? He's lovely. He's, yeah, so we need to see him in more, don't we? So, okay, what I'm doing while I'm waffling about David Jason, let's show you what we're actually up to. So I'm going to bring in one of our stamps. We're going to use this lovely butterfly one because that's the one that I've got picked on the project. And we're going to bring in a panel. So this is one of our sort of splooshy ones that we've done previously. And we're going to put that down and we're going to stamp this onto here. So for this one, we're going to bring in the black suede. Let's get rid of that for the second. We'll pick that area up there because that looks kind of lovely. Meghan Markle with her
I was
jam.
going to say, what did she do with her jam?
What? I don't know. Jean, what has Meghan Markle done with jam? I feel that she's got her own brand of jam. I feel I've picked that up from somewhere. I don't often read the news or pay much attention to current affairs, to be fair. So it's probably me missing out here on what Meghan's been up to with jam. Did she get in trouble for calling it after something? That's possible.
Jane, have you not seen Jane's suggestions?
No, you're on comments. I'm not even meant to pay attention to comments.
How
I tried
about
to.
Passionate Pete, Periwinkle Blue?
Passionate Pete. I don't know if we need that.
Let's leave that one.
Oh.
Or Jezebel, Jamie Jardin Green.
Oh, that's a bit of a mouthful.
Is it?
I struggle enough for the names we give things already. So we're going to stamp this and we're going to take our matching die. So we're bringing in the nested tile dies and we're going to pick that up with a bit of tape just to make sure that that stays in place. And we're going to send this through our machine if I can find my mats and clear them off. Just so that we die cut out that stamped image. Because of course, and I'm sure you all know this by now, but our tile images in stamps, which are 3 different sets. You've got Happy Birthday, you've got the ornate set, and you've got the butterfly set, all then match in with the nesting set of dies so that every one of them can be cut out. There's a candle on the Happy Birthday stamp that obviously doesn't match one of the nesting dies, but everything else coordinates perfectly with one of the dies. So once that's gone through and cut out, we have got our little panel. And what I love about these dies is when they cut, they also deboss in a little line around them. So you've got a really elegant finish to these ones, and they're just really lovely and crisp and beautiful. I really love this shape. And I'm sure we've told you this. I've picked the wrong size die. That ain't very good, is it? Never mind, it doesn't matter. But they do tessellate, I'm told. That's the right word to tell you. But it all matches up. So if you, and these don't because they're 2 different sizes. But if you had the same size, which I should have cut, let's show you on this format, they'll all match together. So you can literally put them back together like you do your bathroom tiles, which is why it's called the tile collection, or your kitchen tiles, whatever it may be. So what we're going to do now is we're going to leave that one off to one side. With this one, my finished one, I've painted with the same ink. So I've used a bit of water, I've mixed them up, and I've painted with them a bit like we did earlier. And then we're going to start bringing in some panels and putting this project together. So we're going to start off with our card blank, and the card blank this week is, or this time, is 6 inches by 8 inches. We're going to go for one of our deckled edge rectangles, and I've put into this one the stitched edges as well, and we're going to place that one down on top. And then we're going to bring in a panel that I've cut with the plain rectangles that we've done that smooshy pickup technique again. You might see actually how that one looks a little bit lighter. See, they shouldn't, see that still looks a lot brighter on screen, but it really isn't. Maybe it's because it's wet, but once dry, you'll see it will look a lot lighter and you get them sort of really cool sort of tech. I don't know, what do you describe that as? Is it like metal maybe, Pete? That kind of textural, vintagey, yeah, metallic. I don't know. Like I don't know what it is. Kind of reminds me of that. And then, do you know the old Christmas baubles that you got? The glass Christmas baubles. They had a name, didn't they? I struggle to remember that. But it's got kind of that look to it as well. I don't know. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. Were they Mercury baubles?
I thought they were just glass baubles.
No, they had a name. I'm sure they had a name. I might be wrong, but I'm sure they had a name. So then with our panel, and this is again one of the cool bits about giving you the dies without attached edges. So for our panel, I'm going to bring in this elegant butterfly die set. Now this again has a separate outside oval edge, which means that its actual panel has no outside edge, has no inside edge. So we can bring that in and we can put it into one of our nesting dies and we can cut that out and we would end up with something similar to this one. Because of your fretwork, I'll get a piece of card to undo it. Wait, there, let's have it. There we go, that's better, you'll see it now. So we've got our fretwork cut in and we've got our decal edge running around the outside. Now this die set also has a lattice, so we could have chose to put the lattice in the middle. It also has a matching outside edge, so we could have cut that open as an aperture instead if we prefer. So again, for scrapbooking, journaling, or just frames on your cards, it would all work nicely. But it gives you that ability, once again, a bit like we were talking about with the corners earlier, to bring in your outside edges and create completely different styles with them. So I've gone ahead and added some of our 1mm foam tape to the reverse of this. So we'll take these lids off and we'll put this onto our card. Mottled marble. Oh, that's a good one. Mother of pearl. Yeah, that's great, Sue. See, you're all with me, aren't you? There's me and me sort of forgetfulness. But yeah, it's got that kind of lustery mother of pearl mottled look, isn't it? So we're going to bring this panel in. And we're going to get rid of that bit from our foam tape. And we're going to place that down. I'm going to bring this one in because we've got it and it's cut. And we're going to place this one onto the top of that middle panel. So again, building up is really lovely. And actually, I'm looking at this now and I'm wondering, I actually think that looks kind of nice because we could then leave that without the painting and bring that up a level and actually sort of nest our tiles together. I'm going to do that. Let's bring in some foam tape. Let's bring in 2mm. So if you've not seen the foam tape, this is a bit impressive, isn't it? These are our new foam tape rolls. We launched these a couple of weeks ago. These are new 50-metre rolls that have come out and they are huge and they give you amazing value because of you get 1mm on one roll or 2mm on the roll I'm using, but you get 50 metres on both of them. And it's just a really great value. They recommended retail price is $12.99 a roll, which works out a lot cheaper than traditional foam tape. And it's also kind of lovely because you're not always running out of it and you've got it on hand when you need it. And you're kind of saving quite a few pennies on bits that you have to use, don't you? You have to have your foam tape. So it's kind of a nice way to save some pennies. So let's tie a bow around this one so it's actually ready. I've got a lot of ribbon here. Let's go for a little less ribbon. See what we get out of that. Oh, even that's still quite a bit. That's fine. Never hurts to have too much. So I'll tie a little bow on this one and finish this off. Now I'm conscious that we are beyond our time already. So I think we should pick a winner and leave you all in peace. So if you've got any questions that I haven't yet answered or me and Pete have missed, pop them in the comments and let us know. If you haven't already told us when you hang your Christmas decorations, or if in fact you bother, let us know. All answers will be entered and Pete will pick one winner to be chosen at random to receive the 2 projects that we've completed this evening so that we can give something away, because it's nice to give something away. And you'll have to let me know if whoever wins, if you would like them signed or not. Because if you like them signed, then of course I'll sign them for you as well. And if you're thinking that you're going to recycle them straight away or give them away, then you might choose to not have them signed. I might have enough ribbon to add this one and finish this one off too. Let's see, that might be a bit too small, but we'll give it a go. Let's see. I love a ribbon. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. The amount of ribbon I add on cards, I'd really need to source some ribbon to bring you because I love ribbons. I just think they're the finishing touches to go onto a card that really set it off, especially sheer ribbons, patterned ribbons, fluted edge ribbons. Yeah, there's loads of ribbons I'd like to bring you. We're going to have to do a bit of digging next year and see if we can bring you some ribbons as well. Some sort of finishing touches, because I think they're really lovely to just add onto a card. And to me, a card, not all cards, it depends on what's going on with it, but they kind of look naked without a ribbon. I just think a ribbon's that finishing luxurious touch that really sets it off. But I might just be on my own on this one. But there are the 2 cards we're going to give away. So if you haven't already, let us know when you hang your Christmas decorations in the comments. If you've got any last minute questions you'd like to ask us, please let us know and I'll do my best to show you them. And if not, we'll say goodnight and leave you in peace for another few days. Let's have a little look. Have we missed anything? Mary hangs hers on December the 1st. That's not too far away actually, is it? Dropped my roll of foam tape on the dog. Took me ages to get off all the dog hair. Oh dear, that's not good, is it? Hope the dog's okay. Size of that roll. Could have knocked him unconscious. You couldn't. It's not that heavy, don't panic. But it is quite a big roll. Loving the tile collection. That's really lovely to see. Jean is loving the tiles too. I love the tiles. Again, no real confessions here, and I've probably told you this before, but I think next year we might revisit the tile collection and bring out some more stamps to go with it and maybe some other bits too, because it has proved really, really popular. And it would be nice to, we were a bit late with it this year, and I'm telling you more than I should again, but we were a bit late this year to bring out Christmas designs to go with the tiles. But next year I'd love to see some Christmas designs to go with them, just because it's a symmetrical shape, making them so easy to make baubles out of. I'd really like to bring you some pictures that fit on them So yeah, I'm telling you a lot now. And you could use the stamps that we bought out earlier this year to decorate them. So if you've got the tiles and you want to make some, don't have to wait till next year. But next year, I think we might have to add some Christmas designs into that collection. And you know us, I love going back to a collection after we've kind of put it to bed and come up with something new that we can do with it and bring out some more products to go with it. Because I know what it's like. We all buy our collections and they have a timeline, don't they? Or in my world, some do. Not everything, but some stuff has like a timeline on your desk. And I think just as it's kind of getting to the point where you're thinking, well, actually, I'm going to move on to the new bit or the next bit, kind of nice to go back and think of new ways to use it and give you some fresh inspiration. So, or some new products to add into that collection so that you can play with them as well. So yeah, hopefully next year we'll do a bit more with that as well. Fran says wide ribbon. Yeah, I haven't got a ribbon supplier yet or a ribbon manufacturer. We haven't yet found one, but if we can get hold of one at a reasonable price, wide ribbon is lovely because you get that lovely bow to it as well. So yeah, very nice. Thank you so much for a lovely live. Christmas decorations go up 2nd of December. It was my husband's birthday. Oh, how lovely. That's a nice point to do, isn't it? Fabulous demo, great tips, love the cards. Thank you very much. Just checking I've not missed anything before we say goodnight to you all. Do mine on the 1st of November, says Mary. Pete, over to you while I waffle about what's coming up next week. So if you missed the beginning of this one, you might not have heard. On Monday, we were on Craft Stash, which will be a Facebook Live. I still don't know if I'm meant to be telling you about this or not, but we're going to tell you anyway. Starts at 10 a.m. on Monday morning on, I believe, the Craft Stash Facebook page. But we will be bringing you several different bits and bobs. And I've got loads of demos and it goes on for quite a while. So yeah, join us for that. You know, it's not all about purchasing it. It'll be backup information and showing you some new inspiration as well with a few different collections. So there's going to be quite a lot in that and it'd be lovely to have you with us. So even if you just want to pop on and say hello for 5 minutes, if you're about, do please come and join us. And then on Tuesday, we are back at Highlight Crafts. There's too many names. I get far too confused. We're back at Highlight Crafts on Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. where we'll be bringing you some inspiration as well. And I say that generally because I'm not too sure if I can remember what we're bringing you, but there will be more collections. I think, is there a cheeky Black Friday offer? There is a cheeky Black Friday offer, isn't there?
There is.
I believe. So yeah, join us on Tuesday as well on Highlight Crafts at 9 and 1. Craft Stash on Monday at 10 a.m. So lots of inspiration next week. And of course, I'll be back next Thursday for our Thursday night natter at 7 p.m. To try and give you some more inspiration then as well. I've got no idea what we'll be doing next Thursday. So on Thursday, I'll put up a post asking you if there's anything you'd like to see. If there is anything you'd like to see or know about, then let me know in the comments and we'll try and fit that in to the evening's demos as well. But it's just lovely to chat with you all and be with you and have a laugh, really. So no pressure, but lovely to have you here. Good time for the live, 11-hour difference in time zones. Oh, that's a bit of a shock, isn't it? 11 hours, good Lord. Lovely to have you with us, so thank you for being here. So Peter, do we have a winner yet?
We do. We are going with our lovely Sheila Kelly.
Oh, congratulations, Sheila Kelly.
Congratulations.
We will pop these in the post to you. Can you please let us know your address? Can you pop us a private message on Facebook? So just message the page with your address and would you like us to sign them or not? And if you could let me know, I will get them popped in the post to you as soon as possible. So well done to that. Thank you all for entering. It's always lovely to have you commenting and joining in with us. Now, hi Jamie, do you do bulk double-sided tape? We do. Just before we go, I will answer that question live. We have just brought out new double-sided tape this week. These are our new, Pete's actually going to get them in the packets for you. These are our new double-sided tapes. There are a 6mm one and a 12mm one. And you get 50 meters on each one of them. And I'm going to look to Pete again to give us the recommended retail prices for these. I think he made a mistake with these, genuinely, and I know every now and again people bandy that about. I genuinely think there's a mistake with these because I can remember we used to sell in the store a Craft Creations one of these, and it had half the amount on it, and I think it was $3.99 for a reel for the 12mm. 12mm, $3.99, 25 meters by memory. Might be wrong. Come on, Pete. What is this?
$2.99.
$2.99 for double the amount. I think that sounds a bit wrong to me, but here's the one who does the prices, so we'll go with it. And then we've got the 6mm one, which the recommended retail price for this is $1.99.
Correct. Yeah.
$1.99. Again, I'm pretty sure that, in my knowledge, that's pretty silly. I might be wrong. So, you know, and I know that the world is full of different outlets to what I know about. So I might be off on my own on that one. But yes, there are 50-metre rolls of those. If you'd like to get hold of them, check out the stockist list. Okay, thank you very much all for joining us this evening. I've really enjoyed being with you all. I hope you've enjoyed it. So from me and Pete, have a lovely rest of your evening, and hopefully I'll see you on Monday and Tuesday for the different events I mentioned. Night from me.
And night from me. Keep warm, everyone.
And we will see you all again next week on Monday, Tuesday and Thursday in all the different places mentioned. So join us for a very chaotic and busy week, because I think we're going to have a lot of fun and hopefully share a lot of inspiration. Thanks a lot for joining us. Night for now.